welcome to part 5 of rebuilding a rust-proof Land Rover. Some progress has been made since the last episode. I refitted all new lights, including a pair of main headlights. I've been buying quite a few parts, including some used seat bases, which I had powder coated locally. I also bought a set of the traditional slab type seats. Now the time has come to do some preparation for the painting. Behind the back of my house is a small garage. I had an electrically operated door fitted to it because I used to keep my 4.5-inch scale Showman's engine in there, and I felt the need for some extra security. The garage is a bit small, so I'm going to back out the Land Rover into the main yard. As you can see, it starts immediately. It's a very good runner, is this engine, although it's a bit smoky, but it tends to be less smoky when it gets hot. I once had a Land Rover 2.25 diesel engine fully rebuilt, a ground-up rebuild, everything new, and when I got it back it was just as smoky as this one. And I was told by various experts at the time, well, that's the way it is. They were designed in 1948 and they all seem to be fairly smoky. You can rectify this by moving the position of the injector pump. It does make quite a difference. I used to experiment with this. The trouble is, like all timing events on engines, whether they're steam engines or internal combustion, the timing of the events needs to be very accurate. I've just been showing the seat base, which I promptly put back, and here's the other one. They're not new, but the powder coatings made them look very presentable. They'll be mounted like this, but I need to rub the panels down to apply some paint. Aluminium, like brass, is notoriously difficult to paint. I don't mean the physical painting of it, that's easy enough, but making the paint stick to it is the problem. The way I usually do it is a threefold operation. Rub down the panel, wipe it with a cloth and immediately spray it with primer. And over the years I've got quite good results with this method. I think the way to go is not to give the aluminium time to oxidise before you paint it, so sand it, wipe it and paint it. Later on in this episode I'll be showing quite a bit of paint rubbing down. It won't be boring, I won't let the clips run for that length of time. Before I do any rubbing down of panels, I want to make sure that the seats fit. The picture on the box is not what I bought. I wanted just the standard slab ones because I'm going to use this Land Rover as an open top vehicle, and it will be very easy to wipe any rainwater off slab seats, whereas if they were contoured, the contours would hold the water, and then I would get a very wet behind. Here's a clip of the original seats I had in the Land Rover, which I covered with nylon seat covers, but when I bought it back from the estate of my friend Ken Rowley, it was a bit of a mess, complete with a log burner between the seats. One of the first jobs I wanted to do was to get rid of the hideous steering wheel that Ken had fitted to it. It was a big steering wheel from a Rover car. It was so big that as you turned it, your hand caught the stalk for the horn. This one is much better. It's 15 inches in diameter and will allow me to build up the muscles in my arms because there's no power steering on this. Here I'm trying the indicators, but of course the ignition key is not in the ignition, so they don't work. I've sorted out all of the electrics. Everything works perfectly. For some reason, my friend Ken chopped up the transmission tunnel. I think the idea was to make it so it could drop the ash from the ash burner down onto the floor. But then he must have seen the error of his ways and he covered it all in duct tape. I bought a second-hand military transmission tunnel and I'm going to fit this. I'll take it to the powder coaters and get him to do the job on it. I want to save the information tab that's on the transmission tunnel. I can't remember what it says, but I did it by grinding off the screws from underneath. I'll probably use paint remover to get rid of the thick layers of green paint. These early Land Rovers were designed so you could have 3 seats in the front, but I only want 2, so I'm getting rid of a couple of the rubber stoppers that support the backrest. And the quickest way to do this is to lever off the rubber part and then simply get rid of the bolt. I did this once again by using my Proxxon Motor Tool mini angle grinder. This is an incredibly useful thing. It's not big and brutal like the larger mains operated type, and you can get into very small spaces with it. Here I'm repeating the operation for the other one. I tapped the bolt out of the hole at a high speed because it was quite hot. These seat bases are designed to screw onto a set of runners, but because of my body shape and overweightness, I need the seats to be as low as possible, so I'm going to fit these onto the aluminium plates without any runners. To give it more rigidity, when I rebuilt the seat box many years ago, I pop riveted quite a thick gauge aluminium plate on this side, so I can't easily remove it, nor do I need to. I rubbed it down using this excellent Bosch rechargeable battery orbital sander, which made a really good job of cleaning it up. I removed the thick of the oxide, but before painting it, I thought I would do the other side. So I thoroughly rubbed down the detachable panel, and here it is on the picnic bench with the first coat of primer. While this was drying, I turned my attention to these parts that I'd rubbed down, which are the covers for the lights in the rear of the Land Rover. Originally, I had some vinyl stickers made. These stickers simply said Land Rover Cabriolet because it was a soft top at the time. I never thought I would ever be removing these, and it was quite a job. They were very difficult to remove, even using a heat gun. The paint blistered first. This, by the way, is not the finished job, it's just a test spray of this primer to see if it works. I use it on steam models all the time, for painting steel, brass and copper, and in each case it sticks very well to the parent metal. I'm only painting over these areas so I can see the marks that I need to use cellulose stopper on to remove. Like just about everything on this Land Rover, the wheels are a mess. On the 17th of March, the Land Rover is booked into a local garage for a pre-MOT test. Because of its age, it doesn't need an MOT test, but that's not the point. I need to know that it's safe. The current tyres, which are 205s, are a bit too wide and very badly perished. I'm going to have the tyres changed to 750s, which were the size that I originally used. Time to get back to removing the vinyl graphics. This is what it used to look like, and this is what it looks like now, a thorough mess. This was the side where I used the heat gun, which did a great job of lifting the paint from the aluminium. But after much sanding with 120 grit sandpaper on the orbital sander, it now looks like this. It occurs to me that I could convert this to a rat rod, but it's not my style. I don't like things like that. The problem is now I need to see where the depressions are, and by that I don't mean my depression, it's something I don't suffer from, but as you can see there are some depressions in the paint which I couldn't see before I sprayed this primer on it. You'll see me using cellulose stopper in a future episode to smooth out the paintwork before I paint it properly. I've just noticed how bad this tyre is. It's really split and cracked. I hope it doesn't fall apart when I take it into the garage for the MOT. I'd almost forgotten. There's another Land Rover Cabriolet sticker to remove. But that will have to be in the next episode because I have some musical work to get on with. That's it for now. Stay safe, stay healthy. Thanks for watching, and I hope you found it useful. Please take the time to visit my Mainsteam Models website and click on the section of the website that says Video Playlists. And by doing that, you can find other videos that you may like to watch. And by using the playlists, you can actually watch the videos back to back.